A man walks into court. He's not chained, but he might as well be. For the chains that bind him are invisible, forged by the power of ideas. The charges against him: corrupting the youth, a life of poverty, disrespecting the gods, and finally destabilizing Athens. His punishment: exile or death. Will he choose life or will he choose death? Death? What do you think he'll choose? Let's find out. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to explore the story of Socrates. In the bustling marketplace of ancient Athens, a crowd has gathered. But Socrates has one gift that terrifies the most powerful men in the city: his ability to expose their ignorance. The crowd cheers as Socrates stops a well-dressed politician in his tracks with a simple question: what is justice? The politician stammers, searching for an answer. The crowd leans in, eager to hear the answer. Courage, says the politician. Can you define courage? Asks Socrates. The politician hesitates. How can he explain such a complex concept? He tries, but Socrates cuts him off. You see, you don't know what you're talking about, and those who claim to be wise are really the most ignorant of all. The crowd murmurs in surprise. They had always admired this politician, but now they're not so sure. Socrates was no ordinary man. He was poor. In the bustling marketplace of Athens, he stopped politicians, poets, and generals with a single question: what is justice? What is courage? What is truth? And when they answered, he tore their words apart, revealing that even the wisest men knew nothing. Athens turns against him. After decades of peace, Athens had just emerged victorious from a brutal war. The city was tense and fragile, and its leaders were desperate for stability. But Socrates wasn't interested in giving them what they wanted to hear. He continued to speak the truth as he saw it, no matter how uncomfortable it made the powerful. His admirers loved it, but his enemies used it against him. They accused him of corrupting young minds with doubt and called him a dangerous troublemaker. Finally, they brought him to trial. The charges: impiety and corruption. If convicted, he could be exiled or put to death. Socrates could have pleaded for mercy, but instead he mocked the court. If I am guilty of anything, he declared, it is of serving Athens. The jury was having none of it. They found him guilty by a single vote. His friends wept. His enemies rejoiced. But Socrates remained calm. When an Athenian general offered him an escape plan, he refused. What would I teach, he asked, if I disobeyed the very laws I devoted my life to? So he chose death. Athens was ready to kill him, but first they had to convince him that they were right. But Socrates wasn't afraid. He knew that his ideas would live on long after he was dead. On the day of his trial, the atmosphere in the courthouse was thick with tension. The 500 jurors sat grim-faced as Socrates calmly defended himself against the charges of impiety and corrupting the youth. He argued that his questioning of Athenians' beliefs and values was a service to the city, not a threat to it. But the more he spoke, the angrier the crowd became. He's a dangerous man, shouted one juror. He's poisoned our young people's minds, yelled another. Ignoring their anger, Socrates continued, I've done nothing wrong. I've simply asked questions to help others seek the truth. But the jury had heard enough. By a narrow vote, they sentenced him to death. His mind was sharp and his spirit was strong, but even he couldn't deny the reality of his situation. He was about to die. The last words. It was the day before Socrates' execution, and his close friend Crito had come to check on him. Are you sure you won't take the poison and end this? He asked. Socrates nodded, a faint smile on his face. I must do what the law demands. Crito shook his head sadly and left. Later that night, as the moon hung high in the sky, a group of Socrates students gathered in his cell. They were distraught, but Socrates calmed them with a gentle touch. Do not weep, my friends, he said. Death is not an end, but a new beginning. Then the unthinkable happened. A guard entered the cell and handed him a clay cup. What's this? Asked Socrates. It's the poison, Socrates, replied the guard. Socrates took the cup, examined it curiously, and then drank it slowly. His legs grew heavy, his breath shallow. As dawn broke over Athens, a crowd gathered outside the city walls. They watched as Socrates, the great philosopher, died for his beliefs. Socrates may have died, but his ideas lived on. His student Plato recorded his teachings and spread them throughout Greece, and so the legacy of Socrates continued. He may have been put to death, but his ideas helped shape the course of history. So I'll leave you with this. Do you live by what others tell you, or do you dare, like Socrates, to seek truth for yourself? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. See you next time.